Hello, good afternoon. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. So, I'm really lucky to be joined today by Jack and Danny, who both own Agent Extra. So, well, I was going to start explaining what you guys do, but why rely on me to tell you what you guys do? I'd rather get it from the horse's mouth. So, tell us all about Agent Extra, guys, who you are, how long you've been established, what you did before then. Give us the rundown.
Okay, I'll go. I'm Jack of Jack and Danny, and yeah, we both run Agent Extra. Agent Extra has been in business. I think this is our ninth year. It's 2016. It kind of really
Wow.
got launched, and we do marketing, lead generation, web development for estate agents. Anything to do with getting more instructions, online. We pretty much have a hand in it. We have every year added a new sort of service to our offering. But we started off very small with just one client, and we've kind of grown out from there. And the reason we do this is both Danny and I used to work in a state agency about 10 years ago. We both met at Countrywide in London. We worked for a couple of brands there in their head office. And the job we used to do, we were never estate agents per se, but we used to do outbound telephone calls in their call center to the agents' old databases. And all we were responsible for doing was filling the valuers' diaries with valuations and then converting those valuations into instructions. And we sort of turned that service when we started Agent Extra. So that's how it
Right.
started.
Excellent. And so you mentioned you've added a service on every year, so you don't have to remember all of them. This isn't a test. Bear in mind, you've added one every year since 2016. So give us an overview of what you guys do sort of day to day for estate agencies.
I will try. Oh, you go for it, Danny. Go on.
So, well, as Jack said, we start off with our call offering. So that is the first part. Our client services offering is our original service. Our next service we included from there was our Facebook campaigns. So, well, with the client services offering, I didn't mention, obviously that's where we call through clients' existing database, generating them leads using their data. Once we introduce Facebook, that's where we're basically generating leads from outbound leads. So bringing in those leads from Facebook is where we've now introduced Google. So that was our next step. And then also from Google, we've now started developing into Instagram Accelerator, where we'll grow your social media following, social media management, and then also now we're also doing website development.
Yeah, fantastic. And full disclosure, Jack and Danny manage my Instagram account, which hit 2,000 followers last week. So great work, guys. Fantastic effort. So great. So let's talk about platforms that estate agents should be on to start off with. So when it comes to social media, there's probably what, 4 or 5 big ones. There's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. There's probably some others I'm missing off that list as well. Where are the big places that estate agents should focus their time when it comes to social media? Or is it a case that they go, right, there's all the platforms, I need to be on all of them? What's the right answer? What's the wrong answer, do you think?
Think the right answer is whatever you're comfortable with. I think, it might be hard for someone who's never used TikTok to suddenly go into business and try and be the biggest person on TikTok. I think a lot of it is doing well at what you know. So whether that be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn is an interesting one. It's more for peers in the industry as opposed to getting new customers, but still a very valid place to be on social media. So it's really up to you. I think there's an age thing with social media as well. I think tends to be different age brackets tend to have more of a coverage on certain social media platforms. So, for instance, personally, I'm not huge on TikTok, but I know there's a lot of sort of people a bit younger than me who that is their main platform now, and that's what they're using. So, I really think it's what you're most comfortable with to begin with.
Yeah, great. I mean, I try and spread my net as wide as I possibly can do. I'm not on TikTok because I'm probably a bit too old in the nicest probably way. But if I would, I'd probably go on it and I would think to myself, what are these kids doing, sort of thing. That makes it sound even older, doesn't it? So, but for myself, I think I think absolutely I'd resonate with that. So I find myself probably a bit young for Facebook, if I'm brutal about it. I find generally it's more of a my parents' generation are probably on it now, sort of taken it over effectively. I find Instagram's probably about right for me. That's kind of a nice middle of the road, and I find TikTok's probably a bit young. So, is there a kind of a platform or any portals you see coming out, you know, in the short term, near term, etc., where you think, so actually that's more of the trend it's going in? So for example, TikTok kind of came out of nowhere sort of overnight in my eyes, over, you know, a couple of years ago. Do you see certain sort of platforms developing over that time? So things like YouTube bringing shorts, for example, or anything kind of trend you see in that direction?
I think,
Yeah, go on, Jack.
sorry, I was just going to say, video but is still becoming even more so prevalent and important in marketing and social media. It's just incredibly engaging as video and shorts with that. And you only need to look at something like TikTok that just appeared out of nowhere, but then now I think it's the biggest social media network in the world. Why? Because it's purely video and pretty much purely shorts. And that just seems to be the thing that engages people. So yeah, anything that uses that as its main kind of content is where I think you're going to get the most traction. Facebook, their whole thing that they do is they try and take ideas from rivals and try and implement them themselves, don't they? So they do is it stories, or is that Instagram and reels? So that they try and do the same. But yeah, anything to do with video, I think, is absolutely key, and where you should kind of be putting your attention, your efforts.
And so if you were launching an estate agency today, and let's say you weren't that confident on video necessarily, let's say you were a bit shy or a bit reserved, or, you know, as everyone goes, oh, I look a bit stupid or I sound stupid or whatever it may be on video, do you think it's a must-have for estate agencies these days to kind of get your face out there?
It's not a must-have, but it definitely helps, of course. And the big thing, look, you've got your brand awareness. So by putting your face out, by putting the time of those videos, thousands of people, of homeowners in your local area will see it. But again, there's other ways around it. Not you don't have to use your face. Like, there's so many tools out there that you can use, or create videos of even using some videos and stills of still giving knowledge to people in your area that you can use for great social media content, where you don't have to use your face if you're not that comfortable doing so.
Yeah. Okay. So platforms wise, you know, it's not necessarily all of them. So I'm off the hook with regard to TikTok by the sounds of it. But I think probably, you know, the main thing I would imagine is the consistency of posting. So what is consistent? If I was posting once a month, I can say, yes, I'm consistently posting once a month. But is that enough? Or does it need to be a couple of times a week for an average estate agent who isn't kind of glued to their iPhone and glued to Instagram and whatever it may be? What sort of a realistic level of exposure on that sort of things? Is it a couple of times a week? What's the answer here?
I think the big thing that social media does is it takes quite a lot of time off and I think trying to minimize that as possible means that you can fit it in around all the other things that you do. We, as standard, when we advise people to do it, 2-3 times a week is suffice. Of course, you can do it more. Any less is a little light, I think. So 2 or 3 times a week, we kind of think is the kind of optimum way of staying in touch with everyone, reminding them who you are without being forgotten, but also being seen as like a consistent poster. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And with regard to kind of obviously everyone wants to grow their accounts, everyone wants more exposure. You know, when I got to 1,000 followers, I was like, right, 2,000. And I think I messaged the other day, Jack, we got to 2 and saying, right, here comes 3 sort of thing. So no one's ever happy with the level they get to. But what's some top tips you've got with regard to someone who's maybe on 100 followers, for example, and wants to get to 200, or is on 1,000, wants to get to 2,000? What's some top tips you've got for kind of growing your expanse and your network on that side?
Well, one of the best ways to do it is know your target audience. So, estate agents, for instance, if you're looking to find more homeowners in the area, great places to start are find pages in your local area, such as local cafes, local leisure centres, things like this that local people will be following. It's start following these pages, interacting, following these, and by doing that, you'll gradually start growing your following by followers by local homeowners. So that's kind of a great place to start, is know your target audience, figure out where they'll be. And yeah, for estate agents, little things like cafes, local businesses, that's a great place to start.
Great. And with that sort of in mind, so that's a very sort of giving value. I'm not a huge fan of that expression, but giving value out to people and saying, oh, here's a local business you can go to, and here's a local park you can go to with your kids on a Wednesday, for example. Do you think that social media is, and for estate agencies specifically, is weighted a lot around what you can give out? So you're not saying, come to me, I'm an estate agent, I can sell your property that often. you're mostly just saying give, 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 give with very little take. Is that the right angle to take on it?
I think it's about having a nice balance. You know, social media is social. So, you know, part of any campaign you should do should absolutely be about property. People should know what you do, who you do, and why they might want to come to you. But the other part of it is you're local. You know, what do you know about the local area? We love people when they highlight the local businesses, independent businesses in the area. Most estate agents in the UK are independent. Self-employed agents are local people. So when you champion local businesses, I think that really tunes in to what people like to see online and what they like to interact with as well.
Great. Okay, so we're looking at kind of local people in local places. Very Royston Vasey of us. So what about other things people can do to grow their social media? So they're posting about local content in the local area about, you know, restaurants and what you can do at the weekends and sort of offering value on that side. Is there any sort of practical tips with regard to what you can actually do on Instagram, for example, Facebook, just to organically grow your page so you get a wider expanse of people looking at it?
Absolutely. There's other things such as on Meta across the platforms. You can boost posts. It's very easy as well. I see a lot of businesses doing it is running a small sponsored campaign. So kind of linking in your Facebook ads to your social media page to grow it. Especially I see a lot of people at the beginning. It's very cost effective to boost your post for as much as £5 a day. Thousands of other homeowners can see it, and again, it's a great way to get it out to that wider audience that perhaps you may not start with at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about video being a key content part of 2024. I guess we're in now. What's the sort of length of video content you should be looking for? So I appreciate this is kind of a more of a long form bit today. We're going to be having a chat for half an hour or so about social media, and that's fine. If someone's got half an hour to sit down and, you know, watch the video, that's absolutely great. But do you think there's a sort of an ideal length of video for any estate agent? So, for example, should they be sitting down with businesses for an hour in the local area and having a chat with them, or should it be short and sweet, 30 seconds, here I am, this is what it is, let's go from there?
I think a mixture, and again, I don't want to keep giving that as my answer, but what you can do with long form content is you can then break that down into loads of different snippets and then use one video and spread it out over months and even a year if you want to. So out of a long piece of content, you know, I think you have 6-second videos which are just very short and sharp, and then you can have 30-second videos where you can give a bit more information to them. When we're doing videos for clients, 30 seconds tends to be the kind of maximum that we do. People have a very short attention span these days, and it's getting shorter and shorter. So I think the more you can pack into a video and the more direct you can be, the better, because otherwise you're just going to get scrolled.
And I've experienced from my side of things. So I upload onto YouTube for a couple of reasons. First of all, because it's good to be up on YouTube, and if you want to absorb lots of content, it's there. Also, it helps on the Google side of things as well. So Google own YouTube, don't tell you guys that. And I find that I've started doing shorts recently as well, and doing literally exactly what you've said, taking long form content and cutting it up. And my views have quadrupled pretty much overnight, because the long form content was getting, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 views sort of thing, and the short form content is getting, you know, 150, 200 views sort of thing really quickly, just because it's shorter and it's more to the point. So from personal experience, I can absolutely, you know, attest to that working. I mean, how do you recommend that people do that? So I've personally, this is probably a bit of a scoop, I use AI on my stuff quite a lot. So I use various platforms that I drop my long form content into. I say how long I'd like my video clips to be, so 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it may be. I then press generate, and then as if by magic, it appears in my inbox 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, sort of thing. Some are brilliant and it chops it up really well and they sound absolutely amazing. Some are absolutely terrible, so I wouldn't use all of them. Do you guys recommend, you know, agents using that sort of software to kind of help them out effectively?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the AI is out there, and you'd be silly not to use it. So there's so many different tools that you can use. But like you said, I mean, you are, it is going to be a bit of hit or miss. I'm sure people, yeah, for instance, for cropping up the videos, but also you as long as you're double checking everything at the end, you're selecting the right ones that you want that are relevant to your target audience. Because sometimes with these tools, they will go off on their own little tangent of what they think is relevant. So yeah, absolutely, you should definitely be diving in and using these tools.
Right. And what sort of metric do you guys look at? So if, for example, if you did a Facebook campaign, for example, or an Instagram ad or whatever it may be, what sort of metrics do you look at? So I appreciate the big picture is how many people does it get in front of? What else do you look kind of below that surface? Because it's good to go, great, you go in front of 10,000 people or whatever the number is. But what other figures do you look at to go, that was a success or that was not a success?
So on your social media, I mean, one thing, especially if you're looking into the analytics side, is your click through rate, your interaction within these of how people are actually interacting with your adverts and your posts. Your comments, are you getting comments? Are you getting likes? The more people that you get commenting on your posts, the more that people will see them, which is fantastic. So it's always something to try and get interaction of people. Again, by doing that, it will spread the amount of people who are actually seeing the post. So that's a great way to kind of measure, one of the great ways to measure your post success.
Yeah, great. Perfect. Thank you very much. So what about on the moving kind of slightly off tangent from the social media side of things, more onto Google, which I know you guys look after Google My Business or Google Business or whatever it's called these days. What some key points and key tips we can take away to kind of get themselves from ranking number 10, for example, on Google to ranking number 3, for example? What's something people can action quite quickly and kind of improve that?
The most important one is getting reviews on your Google page. Google values different things on your Google account differently, and reviews by far is what they put the most weight on. If you've got the more 5-star reviews you can get, the better. There's other stuff you can do on there, getting verified. You know, if you're a new business, Google wants to verify that you are actually based in the location that you're based in. And there's various ways that they do that, but that is one very key and quick way that you should be able to do. Updating your Google profile. So anything you do on social media, you can then upload onto your Google My Business profile. Essentially, what Google wants to do is match what someone is searching with the businesses that they believe are going to be most relevant to your search. And an active business is a business that Google wants to put in front of their searchers. So someone's been in business for 20 years, has quite a lot of reviews, but has never updated their profile. Google is probably not going to rank them as high as you, who is constantly updating your profile, because it looks like you're an active business.
Yeah, good. And so, yeah, I think that's key, isn't it? You know, everyone wants to be at the top of the page. Everyone wants to be kind of top of the castle. And with some vanity, I actually Googled My Business and myself last week, and the number of places that it picks it up from vary. If you go into the images page, you think, oh my goodness, that's a LinkedIn post, or that's a YouTube video, or that's a so-and-so sort of thing. So everything kind of pulls through from there. So it's important to not only get the reviews, but also we're looking at getting the obviously regular updates on a basis. Is that once a week, once a month? How often should we be putting stuff onto the Google page?
You should. I would say these. Well, it depends how often you're posting it. If you are posting across your social media channels, as we said, 3 to 4 times a week, there's no reason why you shouldn't be sharing those 3 to 4 times a week. But also, there's the other bit that we did mention is the product catalog. Is Google's very clever. You can upload your different products that you have in your services. So that's also a great thing. That you may not update all the time, because you may just have your services. As Jack mentioned, we only had one service on a year, and so if it's a year, just add it once a year. But again, it's really important, if you have got all these different offerings, let Google know. Again, it will help you grow organically.
Good.
With the statements, you can add any new instruction that you get, you can list on your Google profile.
Yeah.
I think Google My Business is a very sort of underutilized free way of getting to the top of Google quickly. I think more people are choosing things on Google Maps, Google My Business quicker, and it's got so much to do with how many reviews you have, and then just quick information that you're providing, and people are just much more likely to click you, which is what you're trying to get, if you have a full kind of front, nice reviews and lots of information about who you are and what you do.
Right. And so there's a little bit of imagination needed for you guys here. So let's go back a few years. So back when you were in the estate agency world, so you weren't a supplier, you were kind of in the estate agency world. If you went back to day one and you were launching a new estate agency business, where would your focus and efforts be concentrated even in the digital world? Where would you putting your time and effort into?
So,
Um,
oh God.
one thing that we did pretty late ourselves is SEO. We didn't get into SEO until maybe 3 or 4 years after our business launched, and we get at least half of all of our inquiries
Wow.
through organic search, and that is time and money that we put in years ago that now just yields results on a sort of ongoing basis. So that's something that I would personally have started sooner.
Mhm. Danny, anything to add on top of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, as long as you are active in keeping all the things updated that we just mentioned, your social media channels, you Google My Business. I'm a big believer in Google Ads. I think it's a great way of finding people that are actually looking for similar services that you offer. And I think for a lot of new businesses, it's a great place to start, especially because SEO does take a bit of time. Like it does take time, a year, 2 years to really start seeing the benefits. But for a quick result, something like Google Ads as well, as long as you're doing the small parts, that's somewhere I'll definitely recommend.
And what sort of, to be quite open about money and how much people should spend or not spend, for example, let's say, for example, I was Chris Webb Estate Agents and I was a lonely one-man band, for example, what would be a expected budget, kind of a good budget, a bad budget to kind of spend on that sort of thing? You know, would £100 per month even be worth spending, or where's the line sort of start?
Look, I'm a big believer in businesses is to spend within your means. Don't stretch yourself. If you can't do something, don't do it. Don't put yourself in a silly situation. Look, Facebook, £100 will get you go further on Facebook. But whereas Google is a bit more expensive, but the quality tends to be higher. So it also comes down to where you really are. If you look at a map of England and each different place, the cost per click is different, and even on Facebook. And the reason being is London will probably be more expensive than a small town where there's less competition. So, look, yeah, you have to take it a case by case basis and see where you are and find the right option for you.
Sure. Is it a case that, you know, sort of, I imagine the two conversations you have on a fairly regular basis is sort of Facebook ads versus Google pay-per-click effectively. And
Yeah.
is it a case that, you know, Facebook, you get a wider reach, but the quality is maybe slightly lower, whereas the pay-per-click side is higher quality, but you don't get so many of them? Is that the sort of trade-off you have there?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, Facebook is kind of disruptive marketing. No one's actively looking for it, but it's great because it's shown in front of thousands of people, and you will get people off by chance. Where Google for sure, they are coming to you for a reason. Once you've trained Google and you've optimized your adverts. Again, like you said, the numbers are slightly less, but the quality tends to be higher, which is exactly what a lot of estate agents are looking for.
Sure, great. So, final question. I'll do one for each of you, if that's okay. So there was one bit of advice you could give to the average estate agent on the high street when it comes to their social media or getting a bigger reach or Google ads, whatever it may be, some sort of digital marketing. What would be your one bit of advice?
Mine's be consistent. Be consistent. Be active. You use high quality content. You've got real stories. You can create videos, as we've mentioned. You could do them AI or do them yourself. But again, just get them out there and be consistent. That's the advice from me.
How about yourself, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, similar. I mean, just start. There's so much resource out there about how to do things. You know, one of the things I always talk to, as much as this is what we do, there's nothing we do that no one can actually do that themselves. You just need to know how to do it and put the time aside to do it. We think we're pretty good at it, but there's no reason why you can't learn how to do Google Ads. You can't actually learn how to do SEO. You can't learn how to do certain things on your website. You can do it. And I think to begin with, it is definitely worth learning how to do certain things first before seeking to then outsource things. You know, try and figure out, try and understand it. One of the things I hear a lot from potential customers is, oh, I tried to do that once before, but this company didn't get me any leads, or I had a really bad experience with Google Ads. And I don't think that's because of the Google Ads. I just think sometimes people don't know what they're really looking for or know what to watch out for when choosing someone to work with. So I just think it's important to try and learn certain basics first. Yeah.
And is that also an issue with their alignment of their expectations versus what could be reality sometimes? So Danny, you mentioned, for example, that SEO takes 1 or 2 years to kick in, sort of thing. Whereas if I came to you guys and said, guys, do my SEO, I want to have brand new leads coming in by Tuesday next week. Obviously, I would be disappointed in that situation. So do you find that certain clients have expectations about how quickly some of these things can work, and sometimes they can't work?
Yeah, for sure. Everyone wants leads yesterday, but I think it's really important to look. At least we try to, whenever someone's coming to chat with us, we try and make it very clear of managing expectations. And I think we've got a good idea of which platforms tend to go quicker. Facebook, if you set up a campaign, you should expect to get a lead within probably 48 hours. You'll probably look at a lead. I tend to say to people with Google, don't expect the world within the first 6 weeks. So it's completely different. And yeah, every platform's slightly different. And yeah, you need to kind of manage your expectations accordingly.
Yeah, because I presume that a lot of estate agents kind of look for that really quick win. As you mentioned, leads yesterday, and after 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the number is, they go, actually, oh, it's clearly not working, therefore I'm going to jack it in, sort of thing. So I suppose
Yes.
where they really should stick at it for another 2, 3, 4 months, whatever the time goes, until they start seeing that reward come back.
I think if anyone's going to do something, put a set time and give it a real test. That's the one fair thing. You can't test things in 2 to 4 weeks. You need a period. I always say 3 months. Everyone's got different numbers in mind, but absolutely set a time and stick to it.
Yeah, great. I always use the analogy of joining a gym, which is very good in January because everyone's joining the gym in January. And I always think to myself, if I joined the gym today and I went for solidly for 3 months, probably takes 3 months for actually look any different. Doesn't mean that exercise doesn't work necessarily. It just means that I'll look pretty much exactly the same, minus 40 pounds less per month and a slightly red face before actually things start kicking in. So after 3 months onwards, yes, I start looking in better shape and slightly fitter, etc. But it doesn't mean that exercise doesn't work. I've just done it not long enough.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Good.
You know,
Right. On that note, we'll wrap it up for today. So, Jack and A, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate your thoughts and advice on that side of things. Really valuable content there. So, thank you so much, and we'll catch up very soon.
Chris,
thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.